we're going to talk about LinkedIn hooks and specifically how to go to viral with them,
Yeah.
but without feeling cringe, because that's the number one thing. Anybody I talk to, they're like, man, I want to do more of this, but it sounds so cringe and I don't know if people will respect me after I do this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that specifically. My
Cool.
name is Suk. So I'm the CEO of Engine AI, and I've been an engineer. So my background is in engineering.
Cool.
I'm not like a career marketer, for example. So I've had to like learn these things myself and apply them.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, I've been an engineer. So IBM, Apple, Saxo, that's where I worked. I've also been building for the last couple of years. So 36 products in the last 8 years. They've all been in the B2B go-to-market space, but 28 of them failed because I couldn't figure out how to sell. And
Mm.
so I've only started making the last couple, and that's kind of like where I'm coming in from of like, man, if I could save somebody else even a year of their life, that would help me. If that would have what that would been what I needed when I was first like starting out. So I use kind of like LinkedIn as my way to build in public, and I was able to sell a company last year, so I'm building the next one now.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, and yeah, posting on LinkedIn. So there's a I had no credibility before like LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'm not an ex Stanford. I'm not an ex MIT, whatever. So there's a couple of things that I can attribute directly to like me posting on LinkedIn. So there was a
Mhm.
competition which is called Paddle Launchpad. It's for AI builders across the world. It's in the
Yeah.
UK actually, and
Mm.
I was a top 10 for one of the cohorts.
Cool.
Techstars is a accelerator. So I was a solo founder that got
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Most
Hmm.
most of them are like most of them are teams that get in. So it's very difficult to get in the solo founder anywhere actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Um,
No.
and so working on just like building in public, I was able to get to 120K, and I just raised money from Angel
Cool.
last
Congrats.
week that came from LinkedIn specifically. And like he saw me on LinkedIn, which is kind of
That's awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And right, so I've been helping a couple of different people. So here's one person just like they started posting because like they've been seeing me post.
Hmm.
Harsh, he's also a builder. He's over on Twitter though, but he also like has been seeing the stuff that I've been doing and kind of like started to build his own personal brand there.
Cool.
Jenny, big friend. Is a good reminder. Like if people don't like your stuff, they're still listening to you and they're still keeping up with you. They just like don't show it with like comments and engagements and whatever. So you never
Mm.
know who's watching. So don't look at the vanity metrics right away.
Hmm.
The stuff that I talk about actually can be it's the same across like any platforms. This is like I wrote the same thing on Slack and I wrote the same thing on LinkedIn and I wrote the same thing actually on Reddit as well. And it went like it did well across all of them. So
Mm.
good content actually is good everywhere. Um, what I want to do is I know you're super busy. I want to like actually get to the meat right away. So hooks, that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about. I'm gonna give you exactly like the things I think like a good hook looks like, and I'm just gonna give you like the ChatGPT prompt that you need to like create these hooks. Um,
Hmm.
and I'll share with you like there's a way to work with me as well, so I'll share like what that is. Um,
Cool.
big thing is like what do you need a hook? So here's the thing, like most people are actually looking for a reason like to skip your content because more content means like more things I gotta like think about. It,
Hmm.
and my brain doesn't actually want to do that. What I want to do is look at good content over and over again. And so I need a really quick way to filter out bad content from the good one. And that's actually the process that you're running in your head, and that's what the process your readers are running into.
Hmm.
So your readers actually want the left thing and not the right thing. And when you do a good hook, it actually makes the person go, it's like, the brain becomes like the left image here, like, like that actually like, um, so like tickles my fancy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and this is the litmus test everybody does, which is like, if the first two sentences are bad, everything else is bad. I don't care what else, like if there's an insight on paragraph three, I don't go like I don't really care, right? I want to move on because the first two sentences are bad. This
Yeah.
phenomenon actually is the same across. If you read a blog post, for example, that's your headline. So like if the headline is not good, I'm gonna assume the body's not good as well. I'm gonna move on, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If for subject lines for emails, so same thing there, right? This is why like BuzzFeed, if you go on BuzzFeed's entire business model revolves around making the first two sentences or the headline just as valuable as possible. And valuable not as in, hey, this is gonna help me like 10x my business, but valuable as in like this makes me laugh, this makes me sad, whatever. Like they just want to maximize on that because they know if they can get you on the first two sentences, you'll go and read the rest of the stuff, even if the rest of the stuff is bad, right? Um, so a good hook is actually a signal of quality and for the rest of the post.
Mm-hmm.
As a content creator, you're doing yourself a disservice by making like feeling cringe because ultimately it's about the idea that you have and your its idea is valuable. You would presumably want to help and share that with as many people as possible. By writing a bad hook, you're actually doing a disservice because that idea is not going to like the people that need it. And so I want to reframe the feeling of cringe to being like, I want to be able to give this off to as many people as possible so they can, make their lives better. And to be able to do that, I need to signal quality from the get-go, right? Like we talked about, the first two sentences are bad, and the rest is bad. Nobody's going to read it. So it is almost your duty to make those first two sentences count. Because if the message is good and you believe in the message, believe in the idea, then you would want to like give that idea to as many people as possible. And writing a good hook is the way to do that. So it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you feeling cringy, feeling like an influencer. It has everything to do with how do we make it palatable enough to so that it's kind of like giving a kid a medicine, right? It's inherently bad, but if you just sugarcoat it a little bit and then make them eat it, it's good for the child. Same sort of like same analogy here. You want to sugarcoat your message with a good hook so that it goes down easier. Now, what I did was I actually went through top creators and like I analyzed their hooks. I'm an engineer, so I built a tool for myself. So here's the tool that I built. This tool, it's an internal thing that I built. It just like what's called it extracts everybody's posts for a given username, and then it gives me like a breakdown of like what they're using with their content strategy. It's actually running on my local, so because it's like us, I can just show you what it looks like. Let me see. So test bench, you can see like the way I write my routes. I don't know if you can see can you see my screen right now? It's coming up. All right, see. I think it's like list 5, maybe. Is it list 6? So this is the one. So like for example, if I put in my like Zoo Amanda, she's like a really big creator, and she actually runs a pretty big business. She's a SaaS founder. So she writes really good hooks. So I've extracted all of her posts, and then these are top hooks that she's used, and I've been able to like extract top hooks for like every founder. And so that's the way I've been able to like put this presentation together for you guys. But you can see like this is the hook that she uses, like the biggest unlock between 1 million to 10 million, fundraising advice, feature requests. So there's like a specific kind of like if you read these hooks themselves, you're like, I almost want to like see what she's talking about. For example, this one, she grilled me for 90 minutes, argued on price, terms, and payment. You almost want to see like what she's on about, like what she's talking about. So she's one, giving valuable advice. Number two is packing it up in a good hook. I just want to show this because like I want to show that I've actually done my like research on all of these creators. So the rest of the stuff that I'm going to talk about actually has come directly from analyzing these creators. All right, so we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you like 5 boosters really quickly to up level your hooks. The first one actually is to choose an emotion. So most of the times people will write a story, right? So they'll write, I went to the mall. The mall had these, candies there, and I picked one, and then I walked out, and I saw the checkout register. The checkout register had this UI element on it. Oh, I thought that UI element was great. Whatever, just move on, right? That's a story. What you actually want to start off with is an emotion. It is absolutely mandatory that you do this. And these are the only emotions that you can put every post into. So these are the roughly the buckets that you can put them into. So because people are like readers are a little bit selfish, like you want to know what this post is for you, like why it's useful for you. So these are the emotions. If I read your post or if I read your hook, if I can't put your hook into any one of these buckets, I'm not gonna read it. So let's talk about like all these one by one. The first three are more like it's good advice or like it's a good hack. So I want to like use it for myself. So I go I read your hook and I'm like, oh, this might be useful for me. So I want to keep it for myself or I want to share this with a friend. Second one is I need to know this information, but I don't have the time to do this myself. So like I'm just gonna copy whatever this person is like, if they provided a framework, a hack, I'm just gonna keep that for myself. The third thought that they have is if I read this hook or if I read this post, I can skip the hardship myself because presumably the writer has done the hard work themselves. And then I can just like take the gains of the hard work that they've done. That way I don't have to do that. Right. So the first three emotional buckets are like, man, somebody's done the work. I don't have to do the work, so I can just copy what they have already. Right. That's one emotion. The holy shit what happened is like is an emotional kind of a story driven hook, which is I woke up, it was 11 a.m. and my screen was full of bugs, right? Holy shit, what happened? I want to like go in and read more of like that story. So that's a holy shit, what happened? That's the emotion there. Then the five, six, seven, these are like more your internal, like personal emotions, which is like, oh, they said something I've been thinking about. I knew AI is bad. And like this person just like put into words of like why AI is bad, and that makes me happy. Right. Or something that makes them angry, or something that makes them laugh. These are all emotions that are like raw emotions. And if you can hit one of these with your hooks, you basically have an in with the reader. The very last one, and this is typically the higher echelon of hooks or of posts that you will write, which is literally what I just said here. I analyze over 1,500 hooks. I've done the hard work. That's why you should listen to me, right? So what you're thinking right now is, holy fuck, this guy's put a lot of effort in. I might sit down and just learn from it because I'm not gonna go through 1,500 hooks, right? So hey, holy fuck, they put a lot of effort into that. Um, Roughly speaking, any post that you see that's doing well will fit in one of these categories somehow. So it's always good. It's almost mandatory that you start off with this framing in mind from the get-go, right? So your step one is choose an emotion. Now, step two is opening a curiosity loop. Does anybody here know like what a curiosity loop is, or have they used it before? Okay, Abhishek, do you want to come off mute and just kind of
Yeah, I guess trying to pique someone's curiosity at the top of the post and by the end should have sort of fulfilled that, as in like answered whatever open question that was made at the start.
basically exactly. So, just to reiterate, you want the person to say, "I wonder what happened next," right? That's a curiosity loop. It opens up a question and in the hook, and then the answer is in the body of the post. Most of the times, let me go this one first. This is a bad example, and this is a good example of like this curiosity loop. We'll talk about the first, the bad one. So let's say somebody says, I've been sending out cold emails for the last week and it's been incredible. My mentor actually told me about this a few months ago. It made sense at the time, but I never followed through, yada, yada, yada. The post on the left actually doesn't open any curiosity loop because it actually gives me the answer right away. It tells me that that you were sending out cold emails, and you know your mentor told you about it, and like you didn't do anything, but then eventually you start doing it and it works. The one on the right actually starts off with a question. So my mentor told me a trick to 2x my sales months ago, but I was skeptical. I just started doing it and it's working. Here's what I'm doing. Uh, at no point did this post actually tell me that this is about cold email. It just like posed a question, which is like, do you know, like, do you go, I wonder what happened next. I wonder what that trick was. That's a curiosity loop. So when you think of a hook, you want to like make sure that you're giving the question and not the answer right away. And you want to like make the when they say make the hook juicy, basically have the person like tease the person basically like instead of saying, hey, here's a trick that I used, you know, you should go use it as well, just build the suspense. And then the answer is in the meat of the post. And so that's the person reads the post on the right, the hook on the right, and they go, okay, there's a trick and it looks like it's working for them. And then I want to know what that trick is. And then they click and then they see, okay, it's cold emails and this is the way they're doing it. This is the time that they're doing it. This is the ICP that they chose. The answer is below. On the left, the answer is right away there. I don't feel inclined to just go and read the rest of this post because like I already have what I wanted to know. Um, this was so Amanda's post, one of these ones. This is a very recent one. I think like a week ago. And the hook is this. I sent a Slack DM at 9:02 a.m. on a Saturday. By 9:17, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Does this make you go, sorry, does it make you go like, I wonder what happened next? What Slack DM did she send? And why is the phone buzzing at 9:17? This is a curiosity loop. But if she had started off by the post was about she messaged one of our customers. So if she started off by being like, I messaged 10 of my customers and they all responded back to me within 15 minutes, you've given the answer right away. There is nothing for me to be like, oh, what is happening next? I already know the answer. By starting it off this way, you're opening a curiosity loop, and then the body of the post actually explains what that issue is or like what happened. Okay, the third one is use very specific numbers. It's pretty much a known thing that if you use 19 ways of doing this, or like 10 ways of doing this, or how I made, $1,000, how she's doing this here, 902, that's a number as well. If you use specific numbers, it just looks more believable. Instead of me saying, so here it just says, my mentor told me a trick to 2x my sales. If I just said, my mentor told me a trick to get a lot of sales, a lot doesn't tell me much. It doesn't tell me if it's like, 10% more sales or like, 200% more sales, whatever. So you always want to like add as many numbers as you can. Like 2 to 3 numbers in the hook is good enough. Some people go overboard. Some people go, you don't want to go less. But any place where you can like add a number in would boost your hook, like the quality of your hook, very, very high. In fact, here I could actually say something like, here's the 5 things I'm doing, or here's the 1 thing I did, here's the 2 things I did. Here I could say, my mentor told me a trick to increase my sales by like, I added $1,000 more in revenue per month with this trick, right? $1,000. That's a specific number that I'm talking about. Specific numbers means that it can't like it's not like up in the air. It's a very specific thing. So I want to know how you did it. So here's examples. Adam Robinson is a great person. I follow his posts all the time, and Amanda's, I've talked about her multiple times. But you can see most marketers would say I'm an idiot, but I don't believe in attribution. It forces me to focus on the wrong things. Here's 5 reasons why. He could have easily gone and said, here's why I think, measuring marketing activity is a waste of time, and then like, done a paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. But here, I can almost picture in my head what this post is going to look like if I press on show more. right? It's going to be 5 bullet points, and hopefully all 5 of them are high quality, because right off the bat, the sentence that he has is actually pretty high quality on its own, right? So, the question that he posed, the curiosity loop he's opened up is that I am focusing on attribution, and like that's a wrong thing. And why he doesn't measure the activity, the marketing activity, like why is he not doing that? Because everybody else in the world is. So there's a question in my head, and then I'm clicking on show more to be able to read his answer for why he's doing that. Amanda Zoo, same thing. You can see like 3 or 4 numbers right off the bat. My first startup never broke 100K ARR. I immediately know that she's like a high level founder if she's talking about like 100K. She's not talking about like 10K or 5K. She's talking about 100K. And then now the second one has crossed like 10 million in 36 months, right? This again, second line could have easily been my second startup is actually killing it. Here's what I realized. But killing it doesn't tell me anything. Those 10 million ARR and 36 months just makes it more believable, of like what she's talking about, and she knows what she's talking about. And then to achieve PMF, you must be the number one solution to your customer's problem. And it kind of goes on and on after that. The hook actually ends right here. Here's what I realized. And then that's where the show more would be. And then the rest of the post would be the answer, right? This is the thing that's gonna turn on your cringe meter. And I would again reorient you to the point of a good hook. The point of a good hook is that it's a great message. It's like you have a great idea and you want to give it to as many people as possible. So your job is to do whatever you can, whatever's in your ability to make that easier for the reader. Images are the fastest way for somebody to see that you're providing value. So what I mean by that is like selfies. So selfies is like the number one thing. Number two thing is if you want to put in an image of an infographic. The thing that you don't want to do is add an AI image. That gives you like negative points completely, and you'll basically ruin your brand. Nobody really wants to see an AI image. They want to see either an image of you or an image of I don't have it here, but an image of like an infographic. So whatever you're saying in the post, maybe like make that into an image. The reason for that is we just like seeing people's photos. That's the simple truth of it. If I like seeing so this is Sophie on the right. If I know Sophie and I like her, I'm gonna see that she's smiling and that she's doing something. So I'm much more compelled to actually go in and read the post, like what she's talking about, versus if that photo was not there. It also builds a lot of trust because I see you doing things. So even if I don't remember your idea, like the text post, I remember like where I saw you, the photo for you wherever you were. So if she's at a conference, and Laura on the left side, she's speaking. So in my head, she must be an important person. Nobody gets invited to stages to talks, and nobody gets invited to conferences just if you're a nobody, right? So by accompanying your text post with a photo, it makes it much, much more easy to implant yourself in like the reader's mind and get yourself that attention. The second thing is the screen real estate. You'll see on the left side here, if the photo wasn't there, it would actually be like, the post would take up this much part of the screen. Because the photo is there, it actually takes up the full height of the screen. So I have to ignore the full thing. I must really hate Laura if I just scroll past that without even like looking at her photo. It's actually not possible for me to not see the photo and just like, put it in my head of like, hey, she's a speaker. Looks like she's doing great things and looks like she's somebody important. It's very hard to miss that. Use selfies. That's my number one take here. So you have it, and that's the reason why this is a golden mushroom and everybody else is like a normal Mario mushroom, is because this gives you a lot of credibility from the get-go. And if you're trying to build a personal brand, you cannot go wrong with this. This is more of a an observation that I've had when I worked with people, and like something I run into as well, which is like never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So just because you spent 27 hours over 30 hours doing something doesn't mean that you have to be like super accurate. Exaggerate, and you're allowed to do that. That happens everywhere. It's not a crime to like exaggerate. You don't want to like make up complete details, like just fabricate the whole thing, but exaggerate. Um, People want good stories, right? People want, hey, I was having trouble. I found out this thing, and then now I'm killing it, and now I want to like share this with you. It's an easy story. It's a story basically every movie has, or like every webinar has. And the reason why it's like like every like movie is like here's hardship and there's a conflict and there's all the conflict. Everybody goes happy. It's like a tried and proven method. Just stick to that. You don't have to, create your own of like own narrative that's like much more closer to reality, but makes for a terrible story. I was doing this and then like this happened, but then this guy told me about this thing, and then this guy told me about that thing, and then I went to Costco and then this happened. No, just get to the point. I went to Costco. I saw this UI thing on the Costco screen. It made me think of this, whatever, and just move on from there. So never let the truth or facts get in the way of a good story. You're telling stories on LinkedIn. They just happen to be backed by personal experience. So make that easy for yourself and make that easy for the reader to digest that story. Because the ultimate thing is you want somebody to be able to take that story and tell that to somebody else. If you've been following the Cluely founders, literally everybody talks about them. The story basically there is these founders, the founder, he was in Colombia, got kicked out, and then raised a bunch of money, and then now he's a startup. Like that's the story. The particulars about how it happened, like what day it happened, doesn't matter, right? So think about the whole story. The last thing I have for you is I just created this so based on all of these boosters. So let's go through them one by one. First one is like choose an emotion. This is almost mandatory. If you don't do this, the rest of the stuff that you do is not going to be as effective. You want to start off with by choosing an emotion, and specifically you want to figure out where you want to lie out of these different buckets. I would say actually that if you pick a bucket, you stick with that bucket for your content strategy. It actually makes it much easier because now you're not thinking, okay, I need to hit like number 7. Let me see if I can make a meme. Or I need to hit number 4. Let me see what story I need to put, to fabricate or like come up with or think about. You just say, I'm a person that gives useful information to people that they themselves don't have the time to do. So I'm gonna like just do the 1, 2, 3 over and over again, and that's gonna be my content strategy. That's what I'm gonna stick with. Or you say that I'm gonna build my content strategy on making like having contrarian takes. So number 6 is what I'm gonna keep doing over and over again. Open up a curiosity loop. Don't give the answer right away. Try to like embellish the story, or try to embellish at least a starting point with a question that people want to know the answer for. Then use specific numbers. This is an easy one. So after all you're done your hook, it's pretty easy to find where you can like add in some numbers. So add numbers. Always use photos as much as you can. It's going to be the fastest way for you to build your personal brand and for people to know who you are because they've seen you 100 times now versus seeing your one like profile pic, which is like this big. The last one is think like a storyteller. Don't stick too much to the facts. You want to exaggerate as much as possible. So I've taken all these things and I've just like codified them into a prompt here. And let me share that with the chat here so you can copy paste. There you go. So you can just copy paste the full prompt and you'll be able to like get the same like it will just give you 10 hooks based on all of the stuff that I provided before, and you can just like pick one out of that. Cool. And let's see. Oh, how do I move this thing? Okay. Now, the thing is, 99% of you actually won't apply this. And this comes from like doing a lot of these kind of webinars and like teaching people. The reason is it's too scary, it's too cringe, and like there's a sound in the back of your mind which is like, man, what would people think? I'm here to tell you that nobody remembers like the hook that you use. Once you click into a subject line for an email, you forget what the subject line is. All you remember is if the person that wrote the subject line actually delivered or not. So as long as you're delivering actual insights in the body of the post, it doesn't matter how cringy you are, what photo you're using, any of that stuff. Like you have to stay on target. So whatever you have to do to make your idea go viral, you have to do that. Now, there's a couple of ways like I can help with this. So I'm building a software called Engine, which makes this a little bit easier. So what Engine does is it's like a voice interviewer. So if you've seen like Lenny's podcast, Lenny asks you why questions like 5 times. So it'll be like why. Your golden nuggets, the thing that you really believe in, is on the fifth why. And so what Engine does is it actually asks you like has a conversation with you, takes a transcript and creates LinkedIn posts from right away. So you don't have to like worry about creating a good hook, whatever. It just like creates authentic content by like listening to what you have to say. So the way it works is go here and you say I want to like talk about uh, yeah, I actually think this one. So like I think more businesses should be hiring more employees, not less because of AI. So that's what I want to talk about. And then it goes in. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but ask the question. Yeah, I think people should be hiring more employees because, before it used to be that 10 people would do, 10 people worth of work. But now one person with AI can do 10x more work. That means if you have 10 people, they could do 100x more work, right? So instead of letting people go, I think businesses should be thinking about ways to expand their operations because they have so much more leverage on their employees now. So I think like, yeah, I find it pretty odd that people are laying off people. I think they should be like hiring people that know AI and that actually are like 10x employees. So as recorded an answer, it's going to ask me another question and just kind of do that why thing I told you before. So the businesses that can actually get can find AI folks that are skilled in AI. Those folks are like building just random stuff on LinkedIn or going to hackathons. So like if I was a business I was trying to hire these kind of employees, that's where I would hang out. And I would try to post them before AI gets like pretty big. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep recording these questions, and then at some point I can do finish interview, and I'm going to show you like what it looks like. So finish interview, and then it just like goes through all the stuff that I said to pick out like if I said anything interesting. So I said like 2 interesting things here, and it will go in and generate posts based on that. And it's basically referencing all of the LinkedIn posts that you previously written. So like the thoughts are yours, and the way it's writes is also yours. So it looks like it's basically it like speeds up your content velocity, and you don't have to like think about that thing of hey, I'm writing like a cringy thing. It's basically your own thoughts like staring back at you. See if it generates right now. Okay, sweet. So yeah, AI doesn't replace workers, it makes them 10x more powerful. I find it odd that companies are laying people off when AI arrives. So, here's a math. So that's kind of like what I said already. It just like cleans it up a little bit. So if you're struggling with creating content, this is a pretty easy way to get started. The other thing is sometimes you need like accountability. So I can provide that. So I do like personalized one-on-one strategy sessions. You get Engine, you get Carousel Studio, which is another product I built. It's got 15,000 MAUs to build like carousels specifically. So when we talk about like images, you can also have carousels in there. I just highly recommend images of yourself because people like know that your face. But if you don't want to do that, the carousels are like next step up. One-on-one strategy, and like if you want a playbook on like how to grow your followers, so I grow my followers from 1,800 to 4,300 now. I'm happy to like help with that. But yeah, that's everything. So that's me. If you find this valuable, let me know. And I'll be on LinkedIn.